I'm a tier K class.
And quick question. My air conditioner's not working.
Oh.
Tell.
30 services? Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
And obviously it's not the. You want to borrow mine just to make sure?
Wait, where do I
And what is the psychology thing? How long does it take?
5 subjects.
Oh, I got one. Yeah, what do you use that?
I'm trying to find it.
On Friday.
No, I didn't.
Friday.
Is that too late?
Where's Wait, do you have a tier K class?
Is that PT okay?
I was taking my dog.
Wait, you do on me or my class?
No. Wait, that's for my mind.
Yeah. PT class.
No, it's not like that.
So the last, first, the couple 10 minutes.
During that time, maybe like 5 to 7 minutes, like for your students.
How many kids do you do?
It's like one at a time. It's not like a big ones.
5 to 7 minutes.
15.
Okay.
Sure, guy.
Thank you.
At least you're just doing on teachers, right? Yeah, otherwise, I'd rather do that. Yeah, no problem. Can't do it. How long does it take?
Like 5 minutes.
Okay.
So you just have to be here outside.
How about we do second part of lunch break? 11:35 in the gym. Because that's when I have to be there. 11:35. See, you don't get your lunch, but I don't want to see how that works, buddy. Bagels can't be cheap. Aha! Margaret, who are you working with? I don't either. Were you not here the other day? Okay. You might just have to sit this one out, which isn't such a big deal. Maggie, you're fine with this if you were here today, no big deal. Yep. Nah, not worth the investment. Not for 7 minutes. You'll be fine. You get more out of seeing some decent examples than actually trying to get it done in that amount of time.
My friend goes here. Completion, yeah. Not happening.
Got about 6 minutes there. You boys are done? These two. Where's the video? Got the video? I got 6 minutes, boys. It's a whole problem solving thing. I got one guy working, one guy pointing a mouse at the other guy. I'm not sure how that works. Thank you, Mari and Son. Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you do anything over this summer? Like, you can show me. Oh, yeah. Wait. Yeah. It's like I had, like, my summer work is so dark when I rush now. Like, this is
I don't know. I gotta read that rational.
Stars.
Yeah. Cameos are good. Look at this rationale.
This rationale wouldn't make sense.
Got 4.5 minutes. So he, buddy.
Okay, show me now.
Alright, that's I'm kidding though. Like, it's funny, but my life.
I'll just do it. It's okay. You all have to just do it.
Thank you, Lauren. Thank you, Marty. Some of y'all are killing me. Hey, Crystal, Wendy, if I say language, culture, context, which part? Absolutely not. Come on. It's one. At this point in time, you should know. I thought Taiwan was in Hubei province. Yeah, come on. Extremely insulting at this point in time. I'm sure the idea is fantastic, but the technical aspect is actually quite important.
I don't know how it's to work with this.
All right, got about 3 minutes there, and that's really bad math. It's actually like 60 seconds. So make sure you finish it up. Comments. Watch that Bank of America thing when you're done.
Right.
Yes.
I'm gonna put my violin to drop out right now because it's my dog and it's like the post everything. I don't have it.
You did it with your dog. It's so cool. You actually said that? I just made that up.
Briggs. I didn't do it yet. I didn't remember, but I had that.
Then just give me the rationale. Which, I mean, in all sincerity, the majority of the grid is going to come from that. Sir, you could actually shove the whole thing in the standard submission form, or I prefer that you give me the published link to wherever you put it, either Evernote or an online Word document in the grade 12 standard submission form. Thank you, sir. All right. Show of hands, who is done with both rationale and video? Williams raised his hand. Well enough, I guess. You might be doing some last second. Good Lord. Tommy, you look really comfortable, guy. Look at you. It's the damn Sahil show over here. Point the mouse at him again. See if he works faster. Where's your computer, dude? Oh my God. If O'Hara comes on the intercom today, probably not a joke. You go by the office. Take her out. We're going to close those in 82 seconds. If you're done, you're done. If you're not, you're finished later. I have rationales from Lauren Pine, Wendy Incredible, Mari-san, and Soyu. Lauren even gave me the published bit as well. Justin and William, Stanley and Chris. If you have a published Evernote or online Word document, just make sure your name's in the title of the doc or at the top of that. Even though I can click on it, thank you, Justin and William. Sometimes when I have multiple tabs open, which you know I will. Thank you, Mari-san. I think this is probably the Stanley and Chris doesn't have the name in it. Chris Obama, is that you guys? Thank you. Put your name in there. Cool. And 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and close those guys. If it's uploading, you can just partially close. It's fine, but I do need to look at this. So, does this make sense to us? The biome we created depicts 2 separate social groups. Already that makes sense. Social groups make sense for us. Be it paper 2 exam, a written task 2, certainly part 1. 2 different social groups, one of which belongs to a higher social status group with their use of formal language, while the other belongs to a lower status social group with their use of slang and informal language. The group that uses formal language portrays the group of people that use standard, more widely accepted language. What do we call that in linguistics? Do we know? I've used this term a lot. We've talked about it. You might not know because it's simple but technical. It's called RP, or received pronunciation. Super useful to remember and not horribly obscure. It's like the accepted form or of an accent of a given population. The one that we might deem to be accentless. Any Americans in here? Where might received pronunciation allegedly from the United States come from? No, I wish. It'd be so cool. Like Brad Pitt was like, "Hey, y'all!" Woo! That would be make us like fun. No, it's more like all the newscasters have this, non-regional specific accent. The term sort of derived from when the Beatles came out in the UK. Most non-British people had never heard such funky English before because they were just so used to what they heard on or the BBC. So London and whatnot, a very non-London specific accent would be your received pronunciation. It's a general southern thing in the UK. It's sort of a non-descriptive Midwestern accent, Ohio or something, which doesn't have like Chicago or anything like that. And think about what your own mother tongue, and if there is a received pronunciation for that. Cantonese? Is it Canton? Or is it Kaipanese? The other group that uses informal language portrays a group of people that use non-standard, often disregard their informality language. The language people use on a daily basis more often than not determines their social status because it gives insight and furnishes key materials. Real quick, what was your topic?
Standard, status given to standard and
Okay. That makes sense. Think about that real quick. Status given the standard and non-standard language status. Think of a situation real quick where we might see that. Be quiet because you already gave me this. What's the first thing that pops in your head? I think you're this based on how you talk. I think you're this based on how you talk. Where might we find that? Some sort of quotidian daily existence in any culture. I don't even understand what they're saying, but I can, one of it's probably me just looking and see how they look. But the people in my building, when they're on their phone, have a very different way of talking than the guy riding by on his little old rusty bike. And they're probably speaking both Mandarin in that case. Just the way they speak is quite different. Potentially. Yeah. Okay. Don't disagree with that. Dishwasher might speak different from the chef, and the chef might speak different from the patron. What about a job interview? About that. Could you pass judgment on somebody as soon as they, without even looking at the CV or whatever? You might, or maybe oh, this guy's great, but as soon as he opens his mouth, you're like, you know what I'm saying? So this another linguistic term. It's called code switching, and that one is quite useful as well. What it means is you are able to speak multiple ways under multiple contexts. We see that quite a bit with, unfortunately, but with minority groups, that they're able to speak a certain way in the common language, be it English, amongst their own, and all of a sudden don this sort of non-received pronunciation potentially under a more academic or professional environment. So what's going to happen in this vine, girls? How are we going to see this? Preference or preferential treatment or favoritism maybe? How's this going to work? Read it for us. Just tell us. Paraphrase.
We have to portray, like we said, to social groups. One of them uses more formal language, while the other one uses slang. And the group that uses formal language is portrayed with glasses, doing some saying upright with papers, alluding to like educated social groups, while the other is reflecting, so not caring about anything.
All right, it works. It already works. We have to watch it. We will. But that makes sense to me. Cool. Can you think of a large level where this works? Who was here like 6-7 years ago? I'm guessing, correct me if I'm wrong, there was some sort of massive demonstration in regards to cultural issues with the Cantonese language, correct? Wasn't there like mass of people walking through the streets, some sort of parade, I guess they have to call it here? Was there not a movement to sort of make an effort to conserve the language? How many Cantonese language schools in Guangdong? Have you ever heard of a Cantonese language school in Guangdong? Okay, so it is all supposed to be Mandarin. Careful. All right, not our target language, but the idea is the same. Has anybody heard of Ebonics from a 90s term from California, Northern California? Here's the thing. So in the States, you get money if you're teaching kids who don't speak English good. And so public schools always need money. And what happens is how much money is usually based on how much the people living in your school district can afford for their houses, because taxes come from property. So if you got a lot of money, public schools in the States are fantastic because the kids going around there got lots of cash. The schools have lots of cash. Places where there is no cash, the schools don't have cash, and it's a vicious cycle. So some smart person who was teaching some inner city kids in California was like, you know what? These kids don't even speak proper English. And they tried to label their disjunct or non-accepted standard English as Ebonics. And they wanted to call it like essentially, wanted to treat it as a second language because and they had some science to support it. The grammatical functions these kids, and they're African American, inner city kids, lower socioeconomic, were following was based on some ancient West African grammatical structures. So there was some argument that it wasn't even standard English. Therefore, they needed federal money because they needed more resources, they needed more teachers. It all kind of makes sense. But because of this, as soon as somebody's like, you're going to teach, they thought they were going to teach these kids to be like ghetto. They literally thought it was like ghetto bilingual school where white kids could go and leave there with their hat turned sideways and be African American. So there was a huge social backlash, political backlash about the term Ebonics. It never worked. They didn't really get their money. I think somebody got some money for a little while, then obviously the state in that case pulled it away. So small level interview, large level, the whole plight of Ebonics. Cool. All right, girls. All right, who's the William says topic, documentaries. Not an easy topic because it's like, what does that even mean? Don't ask me, straight from the guy. It literally lists documentaries. Documentaries, the narrating speaker is typically authoritative and objective. I like that. You've already analyzed some qualities which exist between the language of documentaries, the language of documentaries. However, there are certain degrees of bias in documentaries due to what is selected to be shown. Even though the documentaries give viewers the impression that they show, there's that Ebonics coming through. Good job, guys. When'd you graduate? Yo, class of 95. For real. Even though documentaries give viewers the impression that they show the entirety of the situation, the documentaries are usually solely from the perspective, of the producer. Ooh, see, that's massive. The narrator, 9 out of 10 times, if the producer narrated this, be like, and the sex slaves are really bad off. You know, it's some nerdy guy who went to Princeton who doesn't have that voice. So he's just a guy who just does voiceover. He's an actor who probably isn't really attractive, but has a really nice voice. So we want to hear you, we don't want to see you. Sad but true. The documentary is usually solely perspective of the producer. So in our mind, we try to portray the narrative characteristic of documentaries. Authoritativeness, nice word, is presented by the initial declarative statements. Then bias is revealed when the viewer finds out the difference between reality and what the narrator describes. I know what you're saying because we had the conversation. This makes sense to me. Maybe you would have had and put in there that the emotive effect of the audience can be manipulated based on what? The engagement or the level of the narrator, correct? The word choice in his what? Maybe I think the word is inflection. Because if he starts to speak like this, he's not lying about what's going on, but now we're like, we understand how that works. We are predisposed from other texts such as film and all other sorts of genres, which documentaries aren't supposed to be. This makes sense to me. Nice, smart. Could you stand up here, take 5 different clips from 5 different very allegedly objective documentaries and analyze how they are being non-objective based on that inflection tone and the voice of the narrator, and do a further oral activity based on that? Could, absolutely. And we've seen a number of texts that support that. Cool. All right, I like that idea. Why it works, I like that title. Stan, this is yours, right? Okay, you're already laughing, so laughing out of confidence and pride. Divine works with language and mass communication, part 2. Because it is a film and addresses gender stereotypes. This plays a role in gender construction because in the video, President Obama said, ooh, one of you gets to play Obama? Screen cap. He said he would try to break down the gender stereotypes a little by placing a ball hoop in the girl's box. But he did not place a Barbie in the boy's hand. I think we have to look at the vine to see this. What? This has a lot to do with gender stereotypes. I think it does. But if we break this down, this is how gender roles are created. Okay. Which are prescribed to the specific gender as to what they should do. I like that. That bit right there is fine. By using both the written and spoken form of language, this film demonstrates the construction of gender. This vine shows the way mass media uses language and image to inform. Who's making this video? That, I mean, if we talk about mass communication, isn't that always the case? It's like we're going to make this in order to have the public think or buy or feel this. So if this said something about his campaign manager wants to show that he's this, I think it works, but still I'm kind of confused about the gender thing. Why Obama? Is this a found video?
Yeah, I just no. I found like the long clip.
Yeah, so it is actually Obama.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like this Christmas thing. He's doing that Christmas stories.
Cool. All right. It works. And now you could talk about the irresponsible nature of mass communication in that sense, correct? Pretty sure the topic which talks about the duty essentially of mass media to do certain allegedly obligatory aspects. For girls, where he puts the ball net in the girl's box but does not break them down for guys and put Barbies in the boys' box. By all means, find that controller and you can have at it. All right. So, found video works. Don't throw it.
It's too cool.
Shamiksha, your rationale? Let's just watch this. It's so good. It's up there twice. Yeah, no problem. Be awesome. I get it. I do completely. It's open-ended, right? You're supposed to interpret. I think my crown is like SG. See what Firefox does. This doesn't look promising either. See what this does. I don't know why I did that because that gross. I could actually see. So you have like that kind of sophisticated choral whatever going on, some kind of instrumental music. Oh, and then you came in with the Ebonics music, right? That's good. All right. I don't know if I'm just watching it closer now, but it definitely, having read the rationale, it's like, that makes a lot of sense. Cool. And it's the same character, right? Or the same person playing both divisions of social class, correct? He's both, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is fun. All right. We might have to look at these at a different day since I don't know what this is doing. How about you find in the OneDrive, in our IB groups section, there's a folder called Collaborative Docs. There's one in there called Group A Collaborative Spreadsheet. There's only like 5 docs in there. Should be difficult to find. And if I haven't gotten that rationale yet or the link, make sure I do that or I get that in the next like seconds. Looks like this. Collaborative spreadsheet A. 2015, 2016. This is in the folder called Collaborative Docs. Open it up and go ahead and put something next. See what happens. Try something. Type anything else. See what happens. Just make sure I can physically see. Number 1. Sweet. Now, this is how this is going to work. Pay attention. You type someplace else. I don't care if it's in the browser. I don't care if it's in a text document, if it's in Evernote, wherever. Don't type on here. The only thing you do on here is click next to your name, hit Command V. That's all you do. So whatever your response is, whatever your answer is, it doesn't go on here. So I'll ask you this. What is your favorite fruit? Don't put it on here. Don't put somebody in this class's name. Put my name. If I'm your favorite fruit, I feel pretty good about that. I don't have a problem you calling me fruit. Quite okay just being somebody's favorite name. Yeah, got it. So you copy your favorite response. In this case, it's your responsive fruit. Everybody should have something highlighted next to the name, otherwise they're not on here. Good. Make sure in your box. Runners, are you ready? Somebody doubled up on Learn's box. I don't know why. Salim's not on her box. Merv's not on her box. Tom's not on his box. Mac's not on his box. You gotta hit edit in Excel Online.
My one bag is not.
That is going to be a serious problem.
I have to see
Yeah. You can write this anywhere you want today. We could have a special place for the ether tag
Yeah.
basically, we're all riding a nice yellow bus. You're on some sort of electric water.
I take anything.
I have a little, if you ever see me in the morning or after school, I have a little, obviously with my Evernote, I just type this stuff and I have little messages I like to show kids and teachers on the other bus. One is your bus looks like a big banana. The middle school kids love that. I have another one for teachers that says, "You look good in your pants." Oh, Mr. Bass today. All right, ready? I'll count down. When I get to 1, I'll say the P word, and then you do what you're supposed to do. 3, 2, 1, paste. Nice. Boom! Sharice was first. Boom! Ooh, Brian's got to be polemic with that tomato answer. Seriously? Why you guys are overwhelmingly strawberry lovers? Who knew this about you? Brian's got to be all weird on it. It is a fruit. Could have put every individual part. What about mango? Grapes. You're from Malaysia and you like kiwis? That is weird. No, we put durian? Come on. We're from Asia. We put jackfruit or lychee, none of our. All right, shh, be careful. I will ask for a volunteer. It's like super easy. Thank you, Tommy. You did raise your hand, did you not? Yeah. It was down here, now it's here. So, Tommy needs to go to column B. What's you, Tommy? See if you can't hit control. No. See if you can't. Don't hit control. Go to column B. Go to insert and put to row. See what happens. Oh, sorry. I meant column. Way to go, Tommy. Column. Boom. Thank you, Tommy. That's it. And now we put, I always want the current response next to your name. So hold on to that. Now here's our text. It's not our text. Orchards, Bank of America. So Bank of America, I believe, is the largest banking entity in the state. So it's one of the largest ones in the world. When they make something, even if it's regionally based, they got some money invested in that.
Before they sat down.
Have a look. Watch it twice. If you need to take some notes, you might want to take some notes. I don't think you really have to, but there could be some detail in here. We're looking at this obviously from a part 2 text, language, mass communication. It's an adverb. It's a television or online commercial, wherever they choose to put this.
Before they sat down, one more time, just for themselves. Before the last grandchild graced the stage. Before Katie and her husband hit that rough patch. Before Kevin finally came home and the first grandchild arrived. Before the sons-in-law, daughters-in-law, and Brad's brief brush with the law. Before the second British invasion. Before Katie, Debbie, Kevin, and Brad. Before they became a family, there was a connection that started it all and made the future the wonderful thing it turned out to be. We know we're not the center of your life, but we'll do our best to help you connect to what is.
Whoa. This is no vocab line. This is quite impressive. One more time.
Before they sat down, one more time, just for themselves. Before the last grandchild graced the stage. Before Katie and her husband hit that rough patch. Before Kevin finally came home and the first grandchild arrived. Before the sons-in-law, daughters-in-law, and Brad's brief brush with the law. Before the second British invasion. Before Katie, Debbie, Kevin, and Brad. Before they became a family. There was a connection that started it all and made the future the wonderful thing it turned out to be. We know we're not the center of your life, but we'll do our best to help you connect to what is.
All right, so prompt number 1. Don't put portraits. Just give me what you feel. It doesn't have to be the, but if you come up with what you feel is the ultimate or universally most found theme trying to be conveyed in this text, don't write it on our document, write it someplace else. One word, theme. It could be a couple of words. So what is the overall theme, the underlying significant theme with this guy? Keep 10 seconds to write that. Whenever you're ready, all you gotta do is highlight it, Command-C, copy, and then I know you're ready because you'll have your, there you go, Maggie's ready. Brian's ready. Tomato. What's your favorite fruit? Tomato. What kind of tomato there, buddy? Since you're such a tomato aficionado. Grape, Roma, heirloom. Nice. It's a fairly Aaron answered, isn't it? Aaron would say tomato. I like that. All right, ready? So it goes 3, 2, 1. Then I say the P word. No answers. Go up there until I. So it's ready. We ready? All you need is a command. Right. My index here, ready to go. Which one do you hit for command V? How do you? Let me see your fingers. Don't do it. Oh, you. Well, okay, cool. No. like some Western person with chopsticks. All right. 3, 2, 1. Paste. And we're done. Hands up. All right, let's look at these guys. So, memories. Chronology change. I'll go back and change your food. It's too late. Family connection relationship. Lots of words. I understand why you put all 3. Family connection. Family is important. Family. Chronology and change, Shamisha. Connection between people. What's that say there, Lauren? What? So, all right. Familiar history. Absolutely. Boom, boom. No answer. Support one gets old. All right. Now we've seen all this. Do you want to change your answer? How would you modify? What'd you put there, Mega?
I put history and change it to a selection.
To chronology? I like chronology, but it's difficult as a theme. Like for literary analysis thing, I'm fantastic with that. But in terms of like a part 2 text, chronology might just be it sounds abstract in terms of like selling stuff. But I completely get what you're saying, and I do not disagree. It's massively an integral part of this text. It's huge. Who else would change those right now or modify? What would you put now? What did you put to start off with? What did you put to start off with?
Support.
Support? All right. And how would you modify that?
Maybe to change.
Okay. All right. Real quick, hands up. Change. Good thing or bad thing? For the majority of people watching this, middle of the road America, I got some kids, I got a car payment, I got a house payment. Change, good or bad? Probably bad. It's easy for us not to understand that because most of our lives are based on change, especially even if you've been here your entire life, you get it because soon you'll be going someplace else. I mean, if you bought into a house, guess what? The average American mortgage time chronology is based on how many years to pay that thing off? It's like 40 years. Straight up. Why? Because who has in Canada was 267,000 Canadian dollars laying around the bank to shove it all into. Yeah, right. To shove it all in. I don't know about you, but to shove it all into a house at once, no one does. So what is this? And here's the second answer. So type it someplace else. What are they physically trying? What product are they selling? More specific than bank. What are they selling here? Type that someplace else. So what is the product? If you had to come back from like a paper one exam, advertisement, text like product is, what are they trying to sell here? Yeah, write this up. Someone's gonna have to comment. Her name is Maita. So if you're in B, just go to the insert column. Nice. You can stretch it out. Our answer should not be long, but somehow long, like 14 words. Humanity throughout the annals of history. All right, ready? Copy your answer. What product? Physical product, nothing abstract, concrete. Well, it's concrete, I guess. Yeah. Whoa, 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 Wendy! No! No one said 3, 2, nothing. Wendy! Wendy, stop it! I love that. Somebody says we're selling money. That don't make no sense. Ah! Careful. 3, get ready. I didn't move anything. Oh, who put in a row? Philip. It was Philip. It was Philip. He's at top. Careful. Let's go. Ah, okay. Doesn't matter. I'm not. Here we go. Copy. Good. Ready. 3, 2, 1. Paste. Whoa, whoa, buddy. Careful. All you gotta do is stay in your own box. And we're done. Hands up. So, bank product service. Pretty safe answer. It's true. Insurance. Interesting. No one's going to blame you for that. You're a teenager. Assurance, which is extremely abstract. Try to sell that. I think it's a fantastic answer. But in terms of like a tangible product, don't say whatever. Really uncool. Predict the score. Whatever. Whatever. A loan? Yeah, it is. Try carrying that on your back for 40 years. $267,000 or $450,000 loan. You make X amount a year. By the time you're done paying that, your house is worth what you pay for that house is $1.6 million because you didn't have the money to start off with. Yikes. So yeah, it's a loan. If you put anything about, I like your answer about assurance because that's what they're trying to really convey. That's the theme of the message, which is quite different. Bank product, true. Here's the thing. If I were to watch this, even if I'm not buying a house, I might be like, okay, Bank of America is pretty awesome. And I might do something else in terms of bank product services, Bank of America. So think about this. In terms of a company, and you could think big with this, who has multiple services or multiple products, how can they sell one specific product but still be marketing other things simultaneously? Did they ever say loan? See, so in that sense, it's smart. If they said, "Oh, for those of you who are about to sell your soul for a home," that might make a lot of us be like, I don't want to do that. That sounds horrible. I just want to open a checking account. They seem reliable. They seem friendly. It worked for Katie and what's her face. Cool. Stanley, can you add a new column? You just hit insert at the top column. Make sure in column B though. You can do it. Now, while Stanley's yes, taking care of that. Think about this text. One very specific subtle thing, and this might be a whole sentence or two sentences now. One thing you picked up on, which was like, ooh, attention to detail, because there's a lot of stuff going on here. Who put the chronology thing? Who agrees that's a big idea with this? You need to. Now, one aspect with attention to detail, and that was like, smart. You picked up on it, and maybe if the consumer picks up on it, that's okay, but maybe it wasn't that obvious. And there could be literally about 165 different answers for this, because it's not necessarily complex, but there's a lot of attention to detail with this text. So anything there, which is like they really thought about this would have this type of effect. So with any other text, it's like, okay, in line 4, she's used this onomatopoeia because she wants to emphasize the way the door sounded when that angry protagonist slammed. That's an attention to detail, which has an effect. What attention to detail? Stylistic device, some implement that was put into this text that they purposely knew it would have X effect. You're going to have to identify that effect. I'll give you one. And raise your hand if you're going to put, you'd be like, I was going to say that. Nope. I'm going to say it, it's mine, you can't have it. The military figure. Easy. Everybody likes a war hero. Huge cross section of the states. Lots of people have at least a relative who's some sort of military service. If not, to even suggest that you don't support that would make you some sort of terrorist. So they purposely implanted this guy coming back from the war. He might even had a crutch or something, which now makes him like a Purple Heart, some sort. We don't know what happened, but that's the whole point of this very limited text. So they are playing upon that emotional bit. It's good enough for a soldier. It should be good enough for you. Some other attention to detail. And we can watch it again real quick if you need to. It's only 40 seconds.
Before they sat down, one more time, just for themselves. Before the last grandchild graced the stage. Before Katie and her husband hit that rough patch. Before Kevin finally came home and the first grandchild arrived. Before the sons-in-law, daughters-in-law, and Brad's brief brush with the law. Before the second British invasion. Before Katie, Debbie, Kevin, and Brad. Before they became a family. There was a connection that started it all and made the future the wonderful thing it turned out to be. We know we're not the center of your life, but we'll do our best to help you connect to what is.
Cool. There's lots of things you can say. Going back to the military thing, I would add he is wearing a 21st century U.S. military fatigues. So it's not. They could have made him, given the chronology of this, it could have been Vietnam, could even been Korea. but they pick one which is extremely relevant, potentially Iraq or Afghanistan or something at that level. Not saying he definitely went to those places, but it's definitely in that sort of time period. The Vietnam thing could have a negative effect, right? At this point in time, no one's really, there isn't a huge historical backlash, if you will, in terms of those service people who have participated in either of those deployments. All right, give you about 20 seconds on that. We'll go ahead and open up our answers here because I'm thinking these are going to be a little longer than just one word. So attention to detail. My attention to detail was, hey, let's shove in, out of all these characters we're creating, let's have one of them be some sort of military figure, one of the siblings who was maybe hurt in some sort of conflict defending his country. The effect, and I justify that effect. It doesn't have to be with the characters, it could be all sorts of things. It could be language-based, there's a ton of language stuff going on in here. It could be layout and purpose. There's a ton of that definitely going on here. Also think about audience and purpose. If they start with the 50s, what type of family does this kind of have to be for this to work? And that's something they thought about in terms of text and purpose. If this was just a window in time, we're going to look at you as a successful 21st century family. That opens the door in terms of what type of family this could be. If we're looking 1950s United States, loan on, it's a different context. All right. A couple more people still typing in. Hold on, William. Let's go ahead and get the gist of that. Copy your response. Ready? 3, 2, 1, paste. And paste, and we should be done. Nice, Brett. Attention to detail. Divorce. Sweet. Who put that? Thank you, Brian. Fantastic. Think about when they're doing the whole creation of the text. Like, oh, well, ooh, divorce. Ooh. But what did they come back and say when the one guy poo-pooed that? It's like, I'm not sure about that, Bob. What did Bob say? Bob did the bunny ear things and mumbled. Bob, why did we hire you? Good Lord, no way. Because you speak so well. There's straight up a divorce going on there. Yeah, awesome. There's a lot of stuff going on. Think about this. It's like a family narrative, multi-generational. Who put generational anytime in their thought process? Should have multi-generational. That divorce thing's big. Because in the 21st century, you've got to think about your target audience, regardless of your race or anything like that. Divorce is extremely prevalent in the 21st century, especially in this culture. I'm not saying the States has more divorce, and I don't know anything about that necessarily, but it is very common. Think about this. If you're trying to sell something and you want somebody to buy it, what do they have to be able to do? Relate. Yes. And if it's too much this or too much that, what other relatable thing they put in here in a very sort of cheeky, smart way? Let's look. First photochronology of the young couple, one child, but we never see just a couple. Could have something to do with what? completely. I don't know if that's attention to detail. I think that's the whole premise. That's kind of like the thesis. No matter how, to say drastic the change, as shown through the multiple family pictures, they are still insured by Bank of America. Definitely not attention to detail. That's also the whole thing. The divorce thing you could have missed. Right after the posing for the photo of the couple having marital problems walks away, you can play pretend for a photo the same way advertising Bank of America will stay with you through the rough patches. Who put that? Is that you? Awesome. Rough patches. Very basic language. Everybody gets it. Target audience understands. Oh, we're not going to give up on family. Who knows of a divorce situation where the in-laws are still kind of close to that non-blood related person? So say a family has a daughter, she marries some dude, later on they get divorced, but the parents are still in contact with that guy. No, happens. Rough patches. It's just what happens. Doesn't mean we're not going to give up on you. Filming technique, repetition, image of taking pictures in front of the camera, very good learn. Where were those photos taken? Huge symbolism. Who put symbolism before? Burn? It's easy to throw out symbolism in this class. Symbolism. Right? Culture and texture. What's up with that? Where were those photos taken? Oh, the house. Here's the thing. We're all in the toilet. Toilet. Connotation, positive or negative? Yeah, probably. Crapper, positive, negative. Which one always has a positive connotation? Living room sounds nice. We could also call it other things in English. What? Family room. It's also called the den. Ah, Chris is like, seriously? Like animals? Yes. Animals. The den. What do you call that? You call it anything?
We call it the den in America.
You call it a den. Minor, what do you call it? Hmm? Yeah, den. Go ahead. Cool. So we have that central bit where all of, what would you do in that living room historically? All right, majority of your time together, right? There's parts of the house which might have some independence in, like the bathroom or your individual rooms, but the living rooms where we all communally associate. Christmas, yeah, probably birthdays, all those things where all of us together, quality time, family time, symbolism, imagery, cool. The model type of cameras, what is that? What do you mean by that, Shamisha? Oh, modern, sorry, distance. So you're saying the chronology equates with the technology?
Yeah.
Cool. Who picked up? I mean, you could have put it, but they very, very well done in terms of the fashion. You knew without them saying, and they never said the 60s. They said the British invasion. Then they said the 80s with the whole new wave. They called it the second British invasion. The fatigues of that soldier let you know it was probably mid-2000s, somewhere around there. Correct? Cool. All right. William, you didn't mention the narrator? Natural looking, but deliberately created movement when taking photo to let viewers more easily associate with characters. All right, William, I don't disagree with that. What do you think about the characters and association with the characters? What about the association with characters? What do they purposely do in here to make it work?
Show us characteristics of different, a lot of families. They included like a lot of aspects.
They had, who mentioned the one about the brother getting some kind of, he was arrested for something? Probably marijuana given his haircut. Stereotypes.
Like maturity or something. And then also the girl was putting on like a lot of the makeup and stuff.
Yeah.
It's a lot of like adolescent.
Yeah, completely. And then that same character is an adult later, has a child. You might not realize that, but you can assume these are the same people with that now next generation. So first generation, we saw them come in there, and then we see them at the very beginning with the whole reverse chronology, right? We did see that, like flash back, flash forward. So they were the old couple, and they said something about the last time, which sounded a bit morbid potentially, right? But the whole cycle of life. Who mentioned a thing about the brother getting arrested with his run-in with the law? What about Katie and Kevin and Brad? What did they have? This is a cool track. So yeah, I spent more time this than we had allotted. So what we can do is we'll put this out for the next class. I'll tell you what's going to happen. You come back here, you pick 2 people, you'll get together. For the first 12 minutes on Thursday, you will create a pitch. You call it a rationale. You're going to pitch us your best creative response to this. We'll call it an FOA. So what would that be? Got some ideas here. What part 2 or potentially part 1 aspects are you going to go into? We'll do a Shark Tank thing where you will present your pitch and the winners will get something. The losers get sharks. Or something like that. Outside of that, the only thing you have to do is interact with Anne Hathaway, the last stuffy poem. You're going to do all of that you're going to do in class. You don't have to do any of that outside of class. Just showing you what we're going to get into on Thursday. The only out of class obligation is interact with that poem. It's the last one on the document. And you're not going to be here. You know what?
You said you weren't allowed to record.
We'll talk about all learning. I lied. I didn't. Lauren, be nice to me this year. Don't throw rocks or sticks or Tang Sudo, Taekwondo, and all that other stuff you always do on people. Criddle. And put your extended essay in there? That was the idea, yeah. A lot of people were like, yes, I will do that. And they didn't. Yeah, that'd be great. Time. What's up, Big Tom?